Hey friends, Damian Mason coming at you to talk about meat, economics, and whether or not we are in a recession. So if you pay attention to the media, you've heard the talking heads debating over whether or not we are in technically a recession. And I'm here to tell you that we are indeed in a recession. And I'm not going to go by the classic discussion about whether the gross domestic product has declined for 2 consecutive quarters. I'm just going to look at the meat counter. You see, about a week and a half ago, this article struck me that Tyson, the country's largest meat processing company, sees shoppers trade down. What does that mean? Well, in agricultural economics, we understand this phenomenon, and you understand it at your home. You see, it's a matter of what you buy when you go to the grocery. And frankly, when you're a little squeezed, you pare back. We know that, right? Because we're not like the government. When we have no money or we have reduced amounts of income, we spend less. So this happens whether you make a big conscious decision or not when it comes to meat. The vegans and the vegetarians are only a couple percent of the population, although they have an outsized voice, would tell you that it's a good thing when meat is more expensive because meat is evil. But the reality is you, me, all of us are omnivores. We like meat. And the more income we have, the more meat we consume. It's a proven fact. Go anywhere in the world, and when you give people more income, they tend to gravitate to eating more protein. Here in the United States, we are the protein consumingest country on earth. We eat about 220 or so pounds of meat per year. That's not counting seafood, which is another 16 pounds. So what's happening, and what did this article cause me to shoot this video about? Well, Tyson says they're seeing a trade down. What happens at the grocery store or even at the restaurant is you switch off from beef, or in this case steak, beautiful porterhouse steaks that are come from my farm, to pork. And then from pork, you switch down to chicken. And then from chicken, you might switch down to hot dogs or Spam, or maybe even no meat at all. You see, this is called the protein trade down, and it's happening right now, which tells me we are in a recession. Let me give you a little bit of statistical background. In my book, Food Fear, about the past, present, and future of agriculture, there's a chart. This chart right here, for instance. It's on page 110. The last time Americans switched off of meat, meaning we ate less, began in 2008. It went all the way through 2014. 7 years of us going with less meat. We got down to about 200 pounds, a 10% decrease in our annual meat consumption. Why? Because as you might recall, 2008 and 9 ushered in the Great Recession. So, we actually, before it was labeled the Great Recession, before we heard about too big to fail and all these sorts of words you probably recall from our economic history, the consumer already was feeling a squeeze. They started losing money on housing, things got tight, there were layoffs, the consumer traded down. Again, it goes simply like this: from beef down to pork, down to chicken, down to processed meats. And within those categories, we go from steak to roast to burger, pork chops to pork sausage, pork sausage down to chicken breast down to lesser cuts of chicken. You understand the point here. So are we or are we not in a recession? Look at your consumption of meat. More importantly, look at people who are a little more stressed financially and how they go about their protein purchases. And that will tell you exactly where we are economically. The bad news is, the last time this happened, it lasted for 7 years. Do I predict that we're in a recessionary period for the next 7 years? Probably not. The fundamentals look a little bit better. But again, the last time this happened, things were pretty bad. It didn't return and didn't come back and bounce back automatically. Don't expect it to this time either. So, are we in a recession? Look at what you're putting on your plate. More importantly, look at what other people that you know are putting on their plate. When they're trading down in animal protein, we're in a recession. Till next time, Damian Mason. Thanks for tuning in. Check out all of my stuff at my YouTube channel or at DamianMason.com.